Hi guys, welcome to episode 3 of Digitalks with Tracy. I am your host, Tracy Joy Hamplick. Our topic for today was actually inspired by a discussion I had with a fellow marketer a while back. They believed that brands should only focus on content because content is king. My argument, however, is that in some cases, the context is actually far more valuable than content. Have you guys ever faced this dilemma before? Can it really be solved? In this video, I'll explain my take on the matter, and I would love to hear your comments or your opinions and suggestions in the comments section. Let me start by explaining the difference between the two. Now, content is the material that you create. This could be a blog post, a video, a case study. The options are limitless. When you are purely focused on the creation and distribution of content with the intention of attracting and retaining a specific audience, we call this content marketing. Context, on the other hand, is the setting or circumstance in which a person will view your content and eventually giving it meaning. When you're focused on delivering the right content to the right person at the right time, this is when we call it context marketing. So if you've noticed, the difference between content and context is timing. In today's digital world, consumers are served with an endless amount of content. Some of it is high quality, and the rest of it, actually most of it, is filmed on personal phones. The question is, does your audience find this content relevant? Can they form a personal connection with the brand based on the content that you have been serving? This is where context comes in heavy. Let me give an example to elaborate this further. The Premier League season is back, and two brands, we'll call them Brand A and Brand B. They want to capitalize on this event to drive sales and engagement on social media. Now, Brand A spends 2 weeks planning their content strategy. They think about a catchy tagline. They have multiple back and forths on how the ad will look and feel. Then they decide what is static, what is video, how many posts they will create. The whole planning process happens in the 2 weeks. Once they've locked this down, they proceed with planning how they will distribute the content. Remember, in the previous episode, I mentioned that marketing is not just about the creation and communication, it's also about delivering and exchanging. So at some point, you will need to distribute whatever content you've created. You can do this on social media, you can share it with influencers, or you could have it running on the top visited websites. Now, once they have approvals and they schedule everything, they called it a day. Let's look at Brand B. Brand B does the exact same thing, and they spend the same 2 weeks. The only difference, however, is that Brand B chooses to introduce a Facebook Messenger chatbot. Now, this is an automated feature available on Facebook Messenger. What this does is that this chatbot will check in at specific hours in between the Premier League matches. This chatbot will prompt the fans to predict the score to stand a chance to win free drinks. I'm assuming Brand B sells a beverage. Now, if you predict the right score, then you get to win these free drinks. Who do you think will drive the most sales and engagement between these two brands? Remember, I mentioned how Brand A was purely focused on the content, while Brand B introduced the Facebook Messenger chatbot. My guess is, if you were to run a survey, you would probably find that both brands got a good number of sales. However, Brand B was probably the most loved and remembered. You might be asking yourself why this is the case. You see, people are looking for personalized content, something that is tailored for them. We call this the WeFM factor. What is in it for me? The second thing they look at is what is real time? What can you do to match or improve or amplify my current circumstances? You see, by Brand B introducing the Facebook Messenger chatbot, they were tapping into something that's already being done. If people are watching the Premier League there's a particular match they're watching with their friends, they're already predicting what team will score and what team will not. So you see, the chatbot is tapping into that context. Then they coupled this context with a value add, that if you predict the right scores, you stand a chance to win free drinks. So you see, you're not just driving sales, but you're creating an experience, a memorable experience, which means that when it came to the objective of driving sales and engagement, brand B probably did better, because once one person has interacted with this chatbot, they will most likely talk about it with someone else, and that someone will tell another person, and the next thing you know, there's a lot of engagement around brand B because of this small thing they've introduced. They did the same thing brand A did, but they differentiated themselves by introducing the chatbot. And this is why earlier I mentioned that in some cases, context is far more important than content. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying there's a right or wrong. Both content and context marketing are key. The point that I am trying to drive home is that by simply adding context to your already existing content marketing strategy, you can actually increase your return on investment. What's your take on this topic? Let me know in the comment section below. And if you have a follow-up question, please do not hesitate to ask. I will review them and answer them as soon as possible. You can follow and engage with me on Instagram at Digitalks_with_Tracy, and Facebook and LinkedIn. Search for Digitalks with Tracy. If you are watching this video on YouTube, go ahead and hit the subscribe button below and click on the notification bell so that you can get updates of all the latest episodes on Digitalks with Tracy. Thank you for tuning in. I hope to see you next time.